Hi everyone, it's Yvette Le Blowitz from SPAITGIRL.com and welcome to the SPAITGIRL Talk Show podcast. Super excited to be here with you today in this online space with our very special guest, Vicki Rutwind, who is the founder of IGInfluencer Guide. Vicki, welcome to the SPAITGIRL podcast show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. We're actually making this a reality. Finally, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my God, I am so excited to have you here with us today and the Spirit Girl podcast listeners, because Vicki, as you know, and for everyone tuning in who might not know, I've been following you on Instagram for a couple of years now, and I was really inspired by your fashion travel repeat travel blog page because you just wore the most beautiful fashion dresses, hats, and went to the prettiest places and always happy, smiling, feel good. And it made me feel so good that I've been following you ever since.
Yeah, I think for me, Instagram has become such a great place to share uplifting, fun, colorful content. And Instagram is kind of like my second career, the second thing I've really done with my life. So I wanted it to be really joyful and playful and just kind of set up my life to have that same feeling, that same vibe.
Wow. So can you tell everyone who's tuning in a little bit about yourself and your journey as to date?
Absolutely. So as you mentioned, I am the founder of IGInfluencer Guide, which is a program that teaches women and men, but mostly women, how to leverage Instagram and become social media influencers. But my life was not always like that. So my life now is getting paid to travel the world and getting to see these amazing places like you mentioned and wear these cute clothes. But my life, my career really started out as a corporate attorney. And so I practiced law, corporate law, for many years. And it was the opposite of SPAITGIRL self-care. It was extremely draining. It was not my passion. It was something that my family had really hoped for me. My dad's a lawyer. And I kind of just got to the end of my rope with that, realized there was more to life, hit that point in my career where I wasn't passionate about what I was doing and I was putting all of my time into it. And it was really all encompassing. So I decided to get on Instagram just to try to find some people, try to find a community, try to find a place for self-expression. And the longer I was on Instagram, the more I realized that actually you can make a business out of it. And that was something it's still a new job. It's still a new business. Now it was a huge realization for me. Like, I don't need to be at this corporate law firm. I could actually make a living having a great time talking about things and sharing things that I'm obsessed with, like traveling the world and just connecting with other people. So total 180 from corporate attorney to secret Instagram account that I didn't tell people about for a while, to getting some traction with that, going all in, quitting my job, making it my career. And now I've gone even further and I now teach and mentor other people who want to do the same.
Wow, that is so inspiring. That is amazing. Can I ask, when you went down the lawyer path, was that purely because you wanted to be a lawyer, or do you feel that you were just influenced by your parents, or how did that first career happen? Was it your passion, or do you feel like it might have been an influenced passion?
That's a great way to put it. It was definitely an influenced passion. I never wanted to be a lawyer. I come from a family with a lot of lawyers. I always said I wanted to be like an actress, and
wow.
Really didn't want to be a lawyer at all. I then didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And if you are, not as good at math, but you're good at subjects like English, people who are lawyers say, well, you should be a lawyer. So it just happened. I wrote the admissions test that you have to take in North America to become a lawyer, and I did well. And I just let that sweep me into this career. My parents they are, professionals. My dad's a lawyer, so I think their view of how you can make money is a little bit narrower than what you and I now see as being possible. So they, love my sister. My sister is a dentist. My dad is a lawyer. My mom is an accountant. So I just come from a family where we're not generally entrepreneurs really, unless it's like within one of those like very safe professions. We don't have the big risk takers. So I was definitely, I think, just young and like didn't have the self-awareness to like really stand up for myself and take risks in a way that I found it easier to do as I got older and like understood myself more and understood the world a bit more. So yeah, I just got swept into it and kept thinking, I'll do it for a couple of years, but the economy was really bad. So it was like a couple of years became like 5 years, and then all of a sudden it was like 7 years. And finally one day I just had to find myself again. And I'm still in some ways finding myself again, having quit last year, and just stand up for myself and be like, I actually want to find what I'm excited about and like find a way to pay the bills doing something I'm excited about, because then I can do it for as long as I want and it won't feel like work. When you work for yourself and you work on something that you're really excited about, even though you're working hard, it's not the same. It's so much more rewarding. So yeah, I never wanted to be a lawyer and I can't believe I did it for as long as I did, but there were a lot of just factors that played into making that sort of happen and for long. Yeah.
Do your like lawyer friends or people you used to work with, or even your family and family and friends now go, oh my goodness, like the life you were living to the life you're living now is just so phenomenal. Like they just love seeing your travel and living the travel through you. Like, tell me, are you feeling like just so much happier now and healthier within, that you're just doing something that you truly love, that you're so passionate about, that it aligns with your heart, body, mind, soul, that you just feel whole? So by now working, doing fun stuff, like how does this feel for you now, from going from this really hectic corporate job where there's hardly any hours, from what I understand, for self-care, to now like just working in this fun environment?
Oh, totally. It's a game changer. I mean, and something that I did have a big issue with at my old career was just that self-care wasn't a priority. But if you think about it, if you take care of yourself, you can do so much more. Your work is better. You're a better person. Your work is more efficient. You can achieve so much more. Like, just putting aside even that next part, which is just like my happiness in general. If you think about it, like if you were someone's boss, a happy, healthy person is just a better employee. So the fact that wasn't part of my industry just like blew my mind. It's just like, of course, things like yoga make you better. And if you're feeling better, everything in your life is better. So yeah, I'm so much happier. And like, I'm happy to be away from that mindset where self-care was like indulgent. And I'm like, it's not indulgent. It's literally, it's a critical part of life. Like, if you feel good, everything in your life is better. You are going to do bigger and better things. Yeah, I'm so much happier. I get a full night's sleep every single night, which that was like a huge luxury for me. I literally quit my job and I basically laid in bed for an entire week after, because my body was so overtired. So now I never have to worry about like not sleeping. Like, I get to, and I'm a very hardworking person, but it's like, wake up, do what I want when I want. And if I feel like I need to take a step back or take a break or do something for myself, that's all part of my business, what I do and who I am. So it's really freeing. It took a huge weight off my chest. Just my overall health is so much better. Like mental health, physical health, just removing that stress, and then being able to understand that like taking care of myself, like if I'm not caring for myself, I can't run my business. I can't teach other people to use Instagram to change their lives. That's just sort of like step one. So yeah, I'm so much happier. Like I get to see my husband more, even though I travel all the time and I travel more, I actually see him more, because I used to only see him for about half an hour a day because I was working so much. And now it just like all these things like that, it's had such a huge impact. Like I wouldn't be able now, having stepped off that like hamster wheel, I would never physically or mentally be able to go back to do that because I know that I don't have to. Like I know there are other places for me in life that, you know, just being able to step away from that has been so key. And then just also the excitement of doing something I'm excited about, like just it's so much more gratifying, you know. It's just like it's just so much more rewarding, which just makes me overall just so much happier.
Yeah, well, you look, can I say, you look so happy. And in all of your photos, you look so happy too. And I get this, to me, is one of the most amazing things to come from this whole Instagram or online boom of everyday people marketing and sharing things they love through their own personal expression and through, like, it's the greatest thing that's come from Instagram is like your story where you are working in a job that's got nothing to do with self-care. It's work, 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 go, go, go. You're not seeing your family, your friends, not taking care of yourself. And then you go now into this creative path of sharing things you love, and you're just feeling so much happier, healthier, better. And I love now how you are wanting to help other girls, women, and even guys, but primarily girls and women who also are maybe stuck in a rut or stuck in that job they hate or doing something that they don't feel passionate about. And I love now how you've created the IGInfluencer guide. So tell me more about what inspired you to want to do this and what it is, and a little bit more about this journey that you've now created.
Absolutely. So the IGInfluencer guide is my signature online course, and it's a self-paced online course where I teach you how to grow on Instagram and how to leverage your Instagram following to work with brands. And by working with brands, I mean to make it into a business where you actually get paid to travel, to wear great clothes, to promote whatever products you want. If you're a food influencer, to promote food brands to your following. And I was really inspired to create the program for a bunch of reasons. Number one, I think for me, it was a really big change switching from being in a work environment with a lot of coworkers to being a solo entrepreneur. And I really missed that social aspect, but also that mentoring aspect. So when I was a lawyer, one of the few things I really liked about my job was training other lawyers, newer lawyers. So I could see that I was able to have a really big impact on them. The things that you can learn in like more real world training rather than in like a university or high school setting is just, it's different, right? Learning on the job or learning from somebody who actually does the job, I just think has a lot of impact. So for me, I was really missing having a community of people that I could help and work with. And then just from my perspective, you know, I started out my travel blog, my travel Instagram with literally zero experience. I'm a completely regular person. I was in a totally unrelated industry, no friends that did PR. I had no like fashion or travel contacts whatsoever, no idea what I was doing. I didn't really own a proper camera. I didn't know photography. Like literally, I was like a person who said, I love traveling and I love style, and I'm going to learn everything I need to know to make this into my business and brand. And so I just want people to know like you can do the same. I had no advantages. My Instagram account that I have now had 0 followers, right? If you have 1 follower, you're actually ahead of me. If you've ever really worked the camera, you're already doing better than I was. And if you have ever met anyone who maybe works in travel, if that's what you want to do, or food style, whatever, right? If you have any connections at all in whatever industry, niche topic you want to use on Instagram, you're already beating me. So like, if I can do this, definitely I'm so confident that other people can do it. And that's why I want to help people, because when I was first starting out, it was really hard to find information. It's a pretty secretive thing, the Instagram influencer thing. Like people don't usually share how they grew their account or any tips and tricks for working with brands, how to contact brands. So it was really important to me to help other people, if this is what they want to do, if this is what they're passionate about, make it happen and show them and teach them that you can be a very normal, average, but you're an extraordinary person, right? We're all extraordinary people. So you don't need to have any leg up, any connections. You don't need to be famous. Like, this is something that you can do for real if it's what you want to do. So that was really what drove me to start the program, so that I could make an impact and help other people have that similar transformation like I did, whether it's coming out of school and being like, I don't want to be stuck in an office for 100 hours a week. If like me and you live in New York, that's what people do. Or if they're already in that office for 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, whatever hours a week, and they want to get out, but maybe they've never met someone who broke free, right? So I'm happy to be their Instagram BFF and show them how you can get out and make this into your own thing.
I love this, because all of your messages there, just like you said, everyday girl, didn't know anything about camera, like even context, how to go about it, what to do, but just self-taught, just a practitioner, just turned up every day to learn. And as a result, worked things out the hard way. And now you're willing to give everyone what you've learned so that you can inspire, empower them to build their own brand, business, following, just to create the life they want, just so they feel happy and feel good. And because it all comes back to feeling good, doesn't it? When you're living your passion, your dream, or doing what you love, I just believe the more people that you can help with the IG Influencer Guide, the more people you can help, the more people they can help, and the more people that are feeling good and happy and healthy, the better. That's why I loved what you were doing. I thought, wow, this was so inspiring, because, I mean, you travel to some really beautiful places. You wear so many pretty dresses and you really team up with some great brands. But to be able to help, say, a girl who doesn't have that knowledge, that is maybe even still like in a country that's underdeveloped, or, like, I just feel that it's so inspiring to be wanting to give back and help others. And that's why I was like, oh, I've got to have you on the Spirit Girl Talk Show podcast, because you have really, can I ask, when you first made that shift, so a lot of people talk about fear of the unknown, fear of, will this work? Fear of, will I get enough income coming in to sustain this business? Were you, like, for someone who is faced with fear, like quitting the job, or like, did you go through a period of fear, concern, worry? And if so, what were some of the things you did to help with that transition from my day job to doing my side hustle? My blog's going really good. I now need more hours to do the blog. It's either don't do more, do less, or go for it. So what did you do when this was happening? So you were working in your job, your blog starts to go off, you start getting more opportunities. Did you just decide, I'm going for it?
It was a combination of, it was a combination of things. But for me, my career as a lawyer was so draining, and I was getting to the point of being at my wit's end, and I had played it safe for so long. So it was really scary. Like, to be honest, it was definitely really scary. But I also had basically nothing left to give at my old career. Look, I was kind of just at the point of not being able to do it anymore. And for me, it was because I worked so much, I would have had to give up my Instagram if I wasn't going to really pursue it full time. I got to the point where it was like 80 hours a week at my corporate job or whatever, and then 30 to 40 hours a week on my Instagram. And that's not something I could sustain for too long. But yeah, going in and quitting my job was the scariest thing, because I walked away from a guaranteed paycheck with, guaranteed perks. I was up for a huge promotion that year, but I really didn't want it. But I knew, if I've gotten this far in another type of job, I'm going to make this happen. So I had to just like take that fear and use it as like fuel my fire to achieve things and to succeed. And sometimes it is still scary, but I would rather have a little bit of fear of the unknown and fear of where my business is going to be in 6 months or a year, but be happy than not have the fear but be miserable, because the misery of being in a career that's wrong for you, that you really dislike, that like takes everything out of you, that doesn't let you have time to go to the gym, to be with your things, like I can't do that anymore. So I'd rather have a little dose of fear that I use to stay hardworking and motivated. And I still have it, because there are no guarantees, but I also, this is something I definitely tell people and tell students and prospective students of my course, like, even if you think you're in some kind of like career that is a set thing, like, oh, being a lawyer, I did it for long enough. I've seen the economy change. There are no guarantees. Like being a lawyer isn't necessarily actually safer than being a blogger, right? Being a blogger means I have full control over my work, how much work I take on. Like you can have, I don't know. It's not as big of a risk as I thought it was, if that makes sense. And I would way rather live with a little bit of fear, which is not every day, but obviously self-doubt creeps in, or, I took a big risk, but honestly, like to be happy every day, I'd rather live with like a little bit of fear that helps motivate me than just to be drained, miserable, spending all my time doing something I don't like. Like now I spend time only doing stuff I really like.
Yes.
So yeah, but it is, it's a slightly risky thing to do, but also, I already, I have a plan B, I have a plan C, I have a plan D, I have a plan E, I have a lot of other things. And they all involve me using social media and the internet to run my business. They're very closely related to what I'm doing now. So I also feel very confident knowing that this is going to work out for me. It's working out now. It will keep working out for me, even if it's a little bit different, maybe down the road. I don't know if that fully answered your question, but like, it was going in to quit my high profile, high prestige, high paying job on the day I decided I was going to do it. Oh, it was crazy. Like I went in and I was like, I have to say this right now. My boss was like, hi, how are you? It's like, I need to talk to you right now. We need to go in your office right now. Hi. Okay. I can't do this anymore. I quit. Like I had to like get it out because it's like, you know what I mean? I couldn't like talk to anyone until I like did it. I had to like leave my house, and be like march in and be like, I have to do this at 9:05 or whatever, before anyone's like talks to me or is nice to me or like gets me off this. I got in this zone, like, because it's really, and then I did it. And then I was like, oh my God, I can't, every day I go, oh my gosh, I can't believe I wasn't sure if I would be able to say the words, like, but you just have to you have to take the risk to get the reward, and it's so rewarding. It's so rewarding.
Can I ask, so they would have just been like, what the hell is going on here?
God.
Like, what is she doing? Like, and did they know at that point in time you had your blog, your travel blog on the side, or they were just like, because you go to work very much like in Australia, we're so open, like you can have a blog and everyone knows you have a blog, and so it's a very open conversation, because everyone now is a blogger. But I mean, I can only imagine when you said you were quitting to become a blogger, they were probably thinking,
okay,
okay, we need to like have an intervention here. What's going on? Like,
oh yeah, it was crazy. Like they had no idea because I was doing like high profile, like $1 billion corporate transactions. So I had like a fake character that I like played at work every day. Like I had like lawyer Vicki, and she like wore black and navy blue. I would wear my hair in like a tight ponytail or bun, like I had like a different voice, like kind of like I had this whole like faux fake persona, and I had been keeping it up for so long. So like I was up for a huge promotion to partner that year. They had no idea I had this blog where I was wearing like colorful clothes and like going to cool places. They had no idea I even had like a social life, you know what I mean? And I go in and I'm like this like top lawyer at this firm. And I say that, which took me a long time to even accept, like, that I was very successful doing it, because I have an imposter syndrome. So I was like, oh, I suck. But actually, at the end of this part of my career, I was like, oh, I'm like a top performing person here to be like, P.S. I freaking hate you guys. I just want to wear pink dresses. Like, P. And then they were like, can you give us like 6 months notice? I was like, oh, definitely not. I was like, my last day is in 2 weeks. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I was so done. But they didn't see it coming. And honestly, my boss, who I worked very closely with, he never spoke to me again after I told him in that meeting. He never spoke to me again.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. It just goes to show you that, like, I often feel like people take it so personally. Like, it would have been nice, like maybe had he said, thank you so much for your work. We love you, Vicki. We want to keep supporting you. But no, it goes to show you what they were truly interested in at the end of the day was not you and what you wanted to do, but was all about the clients, the business. And wow, imagine if you just had to leave for something not so exciting. Now imagine if you were in a different situation and you maybe had a terminal illness and you had to leave. I'd hate to see what would have come of that. Regardless of what someone has to leave for, whether it's their passion or a family member's sick, or, you know, like, life changes. I do believe for a good leader should cop it on the chin and ask a few questions as why, what can we do better, or what's the situation, and then have that amazing relationship continue, because you just never know where you're going to show up again.
For sure. And the thing is too, like, sorry to interrupt, but like, people ask me, you know, like, you have this online course now, you're going to teach people to be influencers. Like, what if they get better than you? I'm like, I'd be so proud if one of my students wants to be a way better influencer, better travel blogger than me, and get more followers, and like take opportunities that like I applied for. I'd be pretty proud. Like, it's, as you probably know, working, you know, because I know you have a big Instagram bend to your business, like, getting hired for things is totally out of our control by clients. Like, you never know why you do or don't get a job with a brand or a press trip. You never know. So if I teach someone all about Instagram and then they jump over top of me and like do 100 times better than me, like, I would be so proud. I would be like, FaceTime me from your Maldives press trip and like show me what you're doing. Yes, I wouldn't be mad about it. Like, I would be, I'm like, yeah, that's why I like literally just tell the students of my IGInfluencer guide like everything, because it's like, I'm happy for them. I'm like, I would literally be so pleased if they could like be better than me and achieve more than me, because I would feel like I've given them then so much training that they were able to take and just like next level it. Like, I would be so proud.
Yeah, I agree, because you look at the likes of, say, Oprah, all of the great women of the world, and I believe the same too. Like, maybe last year, Instagram was getting really, really competitive, and girls like were all thriving for jobs. But you're so right. It's actually the brand that makes the decision, the look they want, the person they want, the feel they're going for. There's so many variables. It might be that they need to connect with people in Australia, so they need an Australian blogger. It might be they need to connect with someone in Hong Kong. They want to target a Hong Kong audience or a Moscow audience. So it's not necessarily that blogger is better. It might just be that they're after that target market, or they want to communicate their travel destination to that country and origin. And I think unless you start understanding that, which is what I really like about your course, how you go into the brands and how to work with brands. And once you get that and understand that, then you can say, okay, it's not personal. Totally. It really is branding. It really is business. And I think the other thing I've really loved, and you would say the same, because I know I've shared one of your spa photos, which I'm going to ask you in a minute, which your favorite spa is, or your favorite spa treatment. And I've shared you on the SPAITGIrl blog page, podcast page, because you were at the Scandinavian, you're in Go Whistler?
So I was at Scandinav Spa in Whistler, British Columbia.
Yes, and it looked amazing, right? So when I see that, I'm like, oh my God, that's so beautiful. That's amazing. Because I really love learning about spas, spa junkie, spa travel. So for me, when I see that, I'm so excited. I'm so happy, like, oh, that's so cool. That's beautiful, right? Awesome, awesome, awesome. Because I'm just a spa junkie. So I get enjoyment out of seeing other girls, women, or now guys at the spa, because I know like it makes me feel good. So I'm like, oh, that'll be making her feel good. And then also it's about discovering, like I can't get to every spa, which I would love to. That would be my ultimate goal. However, like I can live through learning and growing and developing. So what I always try to tell, I guess, the Spirit Girl community, and you'll be able to chime into this, Vicki. In my opinion, when we as girls or women support each other and we look at like, if she's happy, I'm happy, like if you're at the spa, that doesn't take anything away from me whatsoever. Not one thing, not one thing. I always say to the younger spa bloggers or spa writers or people in general, there are so many spas in the world. There are so many bathtubs in the world. There are so many resorts in the world. We have to have an abundant mindset that if you're at the spa, even though I love spa, you're not taking from me. I'm so excited and happy to see you happy and at the spa. And I'm like, oh, I learned from you going there, and we can learn together and share. Like we can all be happy. We can all, but only if we have the abundant mindset, and only if we have your happiness doesn't take from my happiness. I think would you agree, like, now that you're running your own Instagram influencer guide, you've got lots of girls and women you're training, coaching, mentoring, would you agree like we can all share this space of travel, spa travel, happiness, fashion? Like we can all be happy, and your happiness and your photos and what you do isn't taking away from anyone else?
I totally agree. And I just think there is so much room for all of us. We're all unique. We have a different perspective. We bring something different. And there's no limit to how much people want to be inspired. And there's no limit to how much other people want to learn. So I think especially in the blogging world, there is literally no limit to how much we can do and put out there to make people feel good and to inspire them. It's not like a magazine that has a set number of pages. It's the internet. It is limitless. And people's love of seeing beautiful places and like learning about new things is bottomless. So definitely, I'm all for that like abundant, supportive mindset. And to be honest too, just even on a smaller scale, just from like a work-life perspective, I collaborate with other bloggers all the time. So a lot of the success I've had in the industry outside of my course, the IGInfluencer Guide, but just as a travel blogger, is pitching things together with other women, doing trips together with other women, approaching destinations and brands with other women. There's room for all of us. It makes it way more fun. I think it's made me more successful. I'm more likely to be able to explore a certain destination if I go with one or two friends who also do this for a living, and we can, give bigger reach to the travel destination, and we have a broader audience. Like, we don't need to do this and like fiercely guard these contacts. Like, I'm all for sharing and working together. And that has hugely changed my business for sure. And there are certain bloggers that I collaborate with a lot. But for the most part, like if you see me going to a really cool destination, I'm not with my husband. Like he's in New York working. I'm with other bloggers that I work with. It's so like we're basically we own our own businesses, but we're basically coworkers. So I do agree, and I'm competitive in the sense where I'm like competitive with myself. Like how much can I achieve, and like how can I be better than I was last time. But when it comes to the blogging influencer industry, like there is just so much room for a lot of people, for all of us. And like we're all doing something different. We all have a different perspective, which makes it exciting. And
Yes, yes.
means that we can work together and lift each other up and can have that like positive mindset for sure. 100%.
Yeah, I totally agree, because I went through a stage. I was launched the IGTV travel show, and I was taking my audience through places in Bali, and it was really interesting time. There was some girls, women were like, oh my God, I love seeing the spa in Bali, and because Australia is so close to Bali, I hadn't thought of that place. And then I had other women are like, maybe in the industry a bit like, oh, like, what are you doing? That's what I do. And, so you're always going to have people that really love what you do and people that really don't. But I always come from an abundant mindset. So I go like, if someone else is doing spa, and I've learnt this as an old school blogger, having seen the transition, I'm so happy they're at the spa because I know they'll be feeling good. So I'm so glad you're just sharing that message of collaborating with girls and women and hanging out and having fun. I agree, it's so much fun. And I think if we can all cheer each other on, like high five, cheer each other on, like that is the best thing we can do. People love support. People love to be supported. And I just feel that it's everyone has their own passion. And if we can help each other to feel good, then that is, for me, I feel that's the meaning of life and the purpose of life. Supporting, loving, cheering each other on and helping each other. And you're so right. Like together you can all create and do what you love. Now tell me, what is your favorite spa to visit? Do you have one? And if so, what spa treatment do you love to have?
All right. Well, I would say two favorite spas, and they're tied. So the first favorite spa is the one that you mentioned, Scandinav Spa. They're a small chain in Canada, so they tend to have locations where there are ski resorts because it's like a mountain outdoor spa. So the one in Whistler is amazing, and I was there earlier this year. And that experience for me, I love those types of spas. So Scandinav Spa really specializes in having like a lot of outdoor hot tubs, hot pools, plunge pools, steam rooms. So that for me, that experience is more about going from experience to experience rather than like getting a massage, which I'll talk about next because I'm obsessed with massages. But Scandinav Spa is really about like sitting with a mountain view in a beautiful hot tub, looking at a mind-blowing like snow-capped mountain. And then my other favorite spa, which is not, they're tied, that I also love, there's a line of spas called Ire Ancient Baths. And they first started out in Barcelona, but I go to the one in New York City. And it's modeled after an ancient like Roman or Greek bathhouse or Turkish bathhouse. They tend to be underground. They're so beautiful, like really they often take like old warehouses and places and restore them and make them into these like amazing bathhouses that are very upscale. And they're another kind of spa where you do a lot of like the hot tub, cold plunge, steam room. But I'm a massage person. Like I'm obsessed with massages, deep tissue massages, like painful. I like beat my back up massages. And so I like going to Ire Ancient Baths in New York, which is so magical because you don't really know what's there. And it's in a really like fancy part of New York City. You can't really tell there's a spa. Then you go check in, then you go underground down all these steps. And it's like, blows your mind. Like, how would this exist? How does this huge place exist in Manhattan, in New York City? And then get a massage.
Yes, sure. See this, the spa you just mentioned then, one of our SPAITGIRL New York contributors went to that spa, and I was like, oh yeah, my goodness, unreal. Like we don't have anything like that in Australia. And I was like, oh, wow. So I got so excited when she went to that spa. And I love the 2 spas that you've shared because, as you know, everyone tuning in, it's a tip, really, really big spa junkie. What about one of the places you've traveled to that just stands out like, oh, wow? Oh, wow, this beats my cubicle office as a lawyer. Oh, wow.
So my biggest oh wow was actually from before I was travel blogging. So I have to go back now that I own a camera and know how to capture my experience. But Japan, like 100% Japan blew my mind. If you like told me I could go to the airport right now and get on a flight to Tokyo, like I would drop everything to go again. The culture, the art, the fashion, the food, just everything about it. And especially because I live in New York, and New York is this like crazy like mayhem city. And then you go to Tokyo and it's like orderly and people are so polite, and it's such a big busy city, but it feels easier, it's cleaner. Everything about Japan to me, like there's an amazing mix of old and new, like old temples in Kyoto and old culture, and then like crazy anime museums in Tokyo, and then you go to Harajuku, like everything about it. Like that for me, most memorable trip ever. And I am hoping to go back to Japan next year maybe, because it's like,
wow.
Yeah, I still like dream of it. It was such a like an impactful travel experience, I think, because I didn't know what to expect, and it just like over delivered every single thing I did, everything I ate, everything I saw, every person I like, everything was incredible. And they're amazing spas. I went to a spa town in Japan called Chinosaki, which is a Japanese hot springs town. And like, I feel like you would love this. You basically, the only reason you would go is for spas. I think the town that I went to had 7 different bathhouses, and you walk around the town in a bathrobe basically and wooden slippers. And you have a pass, and you can go and like go into each of the spas. So your hotel like sets it up, but everyone is like hanging out in town in like spa robes, basically, like not dressed, like in their robes, going from spa to spa. And they have all these like beautiful outdoor onsens, like hot pools, like mineral fed hot pools. So that was great too, because I really like spa and spa culture. So Japan delivers. Like you can go to a spa in like pretty much any town or city in Japan, and some of them are like mountain views, and like it has something for everyone. And the culture, I think, just being so different from the US too, I felt like I learned a lot while I was there as well.
Wow.
Yeah, love it.
That sounds so amazing. I need to like organize a Spirit Girl retreat. Spirit Girl collaboration, hashtag IG Influencer Spa retreat there. Now tell me, when you're creating content, do you still have to make decisions based on, like, you would get approached by a lot of brands, people wanting you to hold up stuff, market, advertise? Do you still keep it very niche to what you love, what you believe in, your passions, when it comes to sharing things?
So I definitely only work with brands that I can stand behind, brands that I like, brands whose products I'm interested in. Sometimes it's a new brand to me, but of course I can like learn about what they're about, and I wouldn't promote something that I like. There are certain types of products I 100% will not promote, period. Certain things that I feel like might be a bad example, or things that I don't care for. Like there are things I hands down would never ever promote on Instagram. And I don't only promote brands within my niche, which is travel. I do work with brands in beauty. I work with fashion brands. I work with travel brands. I've done partnerships with food brands. You know, I've partnered with a lot of different, tech brands, really, like anything. It just has to be a brand, a company, and a product that I feel like I can stand behind and like genuinely recommend, and not be embarrassed about, but something that I have tried it and I like it. And I have to be able to find a way to weave it into the story that I'm telling on my Instagram. So I don't do a lot of sponsored content on my website, on my blog. I do on Instagram, but I have to be able to have the freedom to tell a story that makes sense visually and is consistent with me. So like I work with beauty brands all the time because I can take a beauty product to a beautiful destination, to a beautiful luxury hotel, and make it part of my organic story. Like I can share the conditioner that I've been using now for a year because I have now worked with that same brand 4 or 5 times. So that is the conditioner I use. Whereas if they wanted some type of content that like doesn't align with my personal brand, I wouldn't do it. So like I've worked with food brands before, but I would never put like a plate of food just randomly on my Instagram feed. I'm in all my photos and they have a specific look. But if I could work with a food brand and I could be sitting at a beautiful lake with a view of the mountains, enjoying a meal with like my travel buddy, my mom, and it has an appearance, like a visual appearance that's consistent with what I do. I do work with brands outside my niche, but I'm mindful about it and I say no to work all the time. Like I definitely today said no to something that there was just, you know, I don't just do everything that I'm offered, for sure. And I think it's important to find the right fit for you as an influencer. And I've made mistakes. Like for sure, there are brands that I worked with a year and a half ago that I now probably would not, just I don't think it fits with what I do anymore, whatever the case may be. So it's definitely like a learning curve to figure out what makes sense. But like, I'm not going to recommend something to my followers if I haven't tried it and I don't like it, and I don't feel like it could add value to their lives. So, but you know, realistically, I get a lot of opportunities outside of the travel niche that I do often pursue.
Well, you know, it's really interesting though. You're still saying no, even when people want to pay you and give you money, because sometimes influencers can just like take the money and run and take everything they get, and it's purely money driven, but you're still so creatively passionate. If you love the brand, believe in it, or like it, love it, use it, and it fits with your style, or you can fit it in, you will. But you're not changing your brand or your page or your appearance to suit someone else, which I really, really love. And I totally agree. I get asked to do so many things, and quite often I have to say absolutely and oh no, because I don't use that product or it's not part of my lifestyle. I just couldn't do it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just not me. So I think it is important, isn't it, as an influencer to stay true to your passion and what you love and like, and go with that over, holy crap, I'm just going to take that money, but I hate that product. I'm not really interested in it, but I'll just do it for the money. I've always said that. Do it because you love it and it'll always shine and show.
For sure. And the thing is, if you're going to stick to what is authentic to you and what makes sense to you, people will feel more connected to you. Your Instagram will do better. Really amazing brands that you want to work with, that will shine through to them and they'll be attracted to you and they'll come to you later, or they'll strike up that conversation if you approach them. Like it's not worth some like really short-term, you know, cash infusion. It's not worth what you're giving up. Because when you say no to something that seems like it's like an easy, low-hanging fruit, but it's not the right fit, I just think like you're forgetting that if you stay genuine and you try to stay on your personal brand and be consistent with who you are, that'll pay off later. Like you'll have something else that's better come up later, and like your followers will feel more connected to you, which in turn is going to be better in the long run, for sure. So, but I have definitely, like, you know, I've worked with a lot of brands over the last couple of years, and so it's a learning curve to figure out like what always works best for you, as you're trying to balance that this is your business. But and that's something honestly I teach in my course, in the sense of like really, you know, making sure my students understand their worth in the industry so they are able to say no when it's wrong, and when it's a good fit, you know, be paid their worth so that they don't have to hashtag ad every single day. That they can do it when it feels right at the right time, but in a way that feels authentic. You know, they know what they're worth. They know what their work is worth. So they can say no when it's not the right fit, because when they say yes, they're they're being properly compensated for their time and their work and their efforts and their, and their audience.
Wow, I love this. Now, you are being the founder of IGInfluencer Guide. Does this question come up for you? It comes up for me where a lot of people, if I do guest speaking or they might DM, it's where someone can feel very frustrated. They talk a lot about the Instagram algorithm. They get really upset they didn't get enough likes. In Australia, we've hidden the likes now, so you can't see how many likes an influencer gets, which I think is fantastic because it goes back to the old school blogging phase where it's about the person, it's about the message, it's about the photo, it's more about that than metrics and numbers. Do you have any tips for, say, an influencer out there or even a brand or business owner that's feeling really frustrated, like they're sharing their content but don't feel like they're getting enough recognition or enough interest? Apart from one, they should sign up to do your free free master course, which we will talk about at the end. But just in general, do you get that people just upset about Instagram algorithm, like they've changed this, change that, the usual banter that goes on?
Definitely. And here's the thing. I think pretty much every single person I know feels like they've been like personally victimized by the Instagram algorithm. And so I do tell people, right? Like literally you're not alone. Every single person on Instagram, we're all in the same boat. It's just the bar has just changed a little bit. And like we are all now dealing with the same algorithm. But the things that I do tell people are content is king. So, you can't beat the algorithm. Like I hate people like beat the algorithm. Like literally Mark Zuckerberg owns Facebook or started Facebook, now it's a public company. That owns Instagram. So like I don't think, and I'm a very intelligent person, but like I'm definitely not smarter than Mark Zuckerberg. So like I can't beat him, right? I can't beat him. You have to just understand the algorithm and understand how it works. And one of the key things about the algorithm is that it rewards great content. So it can feel super frustrating, but number one, you're not alone. Everyone's in the same boat right now. So it's not something that's like individually targeting you, but like number two, you've just got to focus on being the best you, doing your absolute best with your content, bringing it, continuously improving on your content, figuring out what connects with your audience, what do they want to see, because when things connect with them and they want to see it, that's when the algorithm is like, oh, this is pretty good, and like starts to show it to more people and like really helps you get there. But that is just, the world we live in. Social media is ever changing. It's evolving. It's kind of like this new frontier. And you have to just understand, unfortunately, like we don't control it, but what you do control is like what you're putting out there, what you're sharing with people, and really focusing on your content, your message, and like adding value, inspiring people. When you bring it, that's when the good things are going to happen. And even if you still bring it and the algorithm still feels like it's shooting you down, you're going to be getting those DMs from the people who are seeing your content, and you are going to be getting those story replies from the people who are seeing your content and the comments. And that in itself is showing that you have an impact. So yes, unless you can afford to buy Facebook, then you can buy Facebook and Instagram and get rid of the algorithm. But it's easy to complain about stuff we can't control. Like we just can't control how Instagram works. But it's a lot more fulfilling and less stressful and rewarding to just focus on your work and like focus on your work, your people, serving your audience, serving your followers, and giving them what they're looking for, whether it is spa information or inspiring travel photos or like the best recipes you can do in 15 minutes or organization tips for mom, right? Like,
yes,
that's what you can control, is like what you're giving people. But like you can't control Instagram. I mean, it's Mark Zuckerberg. Like, you can't control him.
Exactly. I actually quite laugh about this so-called algorithm because one, I don't care about it. Two, I'm not interested in it. And that's because I come from a old school background back in blogosphere before Facebook was a really big thing, because blogging back then, and I still do the same right now, was about what is it you want to share with your audience? What do you want to express? What's your story? What do you love? What's your message? How can this content, like you say, serve people, help people? It was all about the creative process, about the audience. And we didn't give a beep shit. We didn't even talk about the word algorithm like 10 years ago. And even now, I just go, it's not about any algorithm. It's just purely about what is it you love to do? What's your passion? And what's your message to the world? What are you trying to communicate, share? How can it be of value? And at the end of the day, like, life is so short, so we should just focus on what makes us happy and hope it makes other people happy.
Definitely.
So I have no stress whatsoever about a algorithm. I don't even know how it works, what it does. I don't care. And I feel that if people just forget the algorithm and go back to why are you really wanting to create content? Is it to help other people, share your passion, do what you love, help to inspire people to feel good? What's the intent? Or is your intent just to beat the algorithm? Like, what are you blogging for? To beat the algorithm? Or because you love blogging and you just want to create content because you're a creative and you want to share what you love? Like, I feel that there's two types of bloggers. One's trying to beat the algorithm and one's trying to create content, feel happy and share that. So that's really good. I just wanted your take on that because I really feel that will help so many out there maybe who are struggling with a concern that no one's watching them, looking at them. And it's not about that, is it? Like, I know even with my book, it can take 2 years for someone to even discover, oh, you've got a book. Mm-hmm. What? Mm-hmm. So that's amazing. Now tell me another thing. Because you are running your IG influencer guide, you are also mentoring and doing all of those amazing things. You're also traveling, doing a lot of travel. How do you actually carve out now time for, because you could literally work 7 days a week as an influencer, blogger, online business. Do you still now have to carve out social media detoxes or time offline? How does this work now for someone who is full-time online? Seriously. Yeah.
For sure. And I'm still learning because I have a lot of bad habits from my old career. And to be honest, it's been a big process of self-discovery because I was playing a fake lawyer character for so long that when I quit my job, I'm still a year and a half later as an entrepreneur, but as a person, just figuring out who am I genuinely, what do I like to do, kind of in a rediscovery phase. But there are a few things for me, now that travel is very much my job, I've had to make sure when I do travel, and most of the time it is Instagram business related, that I set aside time from the trip to actually enjoy it and not just take photos the whole time. So I travel a lot with the same influencers, the same bloggers that I tend to collaborate with a lot. And we've learned that we have to carve out time every day to sit by the pool. We have to carve out time to not just be oh, we have to go get the sunset photos, the photos of that. You've got to set aside a certain amount of hours every day for a cocktail and for relaxing, and try to make sure that we can fit that in. Otherwise, then it takes travel and makes it kind of feel more like a job rather than just my passion. So really being aware when I'm traveling that even if it is a quote unquote work trip, that there has to be time for play and for resting. For me too, because I was so sleep deprived for so many years. I now, unless I have a very early flight, I need a full night's sleep, and that is just a non-negotiable. Which means if I'm up late for some reason, I sleep in. I'm not going to get up at 7 or 8 as if I have a full-time job. If it means I sleep in a bit, fine. But I will no longer sacrifice sleep. I just it's too important to me. And I feel so much healthier now as a person and better now that like regular sleep, which is such a crazy thing to say because that's like a basic human need. But now that I can get like 8 hours of sleep a night, that's like basically firm non-negotiable. And I think too, it's just like knowing when I feel like I need to take a break or step back. So like you and I don't work 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. Like we just work when we work. But on a day where I'm not feeling well, or I don't feel inspired, or I feel like I need to step away, it doesn't need to be Saturday. If that's like Monday, so be it. At this point, I've had to just like learn to listen to my body. Now that I'm the one who calls the shots, it's not some like long-term partner or like faceless corporation. It's me, and just be more in tune with who I am, and like understanding when I do have to put my phone down, or when I feel like I need a day off, and just take it and like go seek that joy, because my work is better if I feel good and I'm feeling happy. Otherwise it's like totally uninspired, doesn't connect with anyone, doesn't give a message across, and then there's really no purpose. So then I'm like working hard to no end. It's like I'm just doing work for the sake of work that's not good work, if that makes sense. So it's really those three things, like finding time when I travel to really relax, sleeping as much as humanly possible when I can, because I love sleep, and then just knowing when to step away. And I think giving myself the freedom to be flexible with that. So I don't work like, I personally don't just work like 9 to 6, Monday to Friday. Like I work when I work and when I want to work. But if I'm not feeling it, or I'm not feeling well, or I'm in a bad mood, or whatever it is, like I don't care what day it is, as long as I don't have a really pressing deadline, which frankly in this line of work, my deadlines are very different than when I was a lawyer. They're much more flexible. I just stop and like go do what I need to do. If I need to go to a yoga class, or go take a nap, or go meet up with my husband, or go get a massage, whatever, go get my nails done, whatever it is, like that has to come first, and just giving myself permission to do that.
I love how you're giving yourself permission, and you shared you're tuning in with your body. And then if you're not feeling energetic and creatively inspired, instead of pushing it, you're just sitting with it, letting whatever feelings, emotions, however you're feeling, you're letting it come through you. And then when you feel inspired, energized, and ready to do it, like I do that the same as well, because when I first started blogging, it was very much you just created when you felt inspired and energized and excited, and it was a flow. And then we had this whole, you might remember this, where I don't know if it was about a year ago, they're like, whoa, every influencer, every blogger has to post a photo every single day at the right time. You got to do 3 photos. Oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. And then it became all this forced content, and people were like, oh shit, I don't know what to post, and oh my God, I don't feel like it, I got to try and find it. And like there was all this chaos, stress. It was ridiculous, to the point where I was like, well, why don't you just post when you feel like it? Like, who's dictating? If you're tired, who's the one that's telling you? Like, it's up to us, don't you think? It's really important. It's up to us to tune into how we feel. And just if someone guru says you must post every day at 8 p.m. at night, right, well, that might be good for that guru, but I do believe what you've just shared, you've got to tune into what's best for you. And I love how you're taking time out. You just sound like you have so much more time for self-care, doing the things you love, now that you are not this high-profile lawyer. Now, I could talk to you forever, but based on that, you're in Arizona at the moment with your family, and it's Sunday evening there, isn't it? Sunday?
Yeah, it's Sunday evening. Yeah, Sunday night.
Self-love Sunday, self-care Sunday. Totally. I know that there'll be so many more questions for you, but what would be even better is if people now, how can people stay in contact with you? And I know that we have a really cool little free masterclass too that they can join up to. So how can everyone stay in contact with you?
Okay, so if you are looking for travel inspiration, on Instagram, I am Fashion Travel Repeat. I also have a travel blog that's fashiontravelrepeat.com. If you're more interested in the behind the scenes Instagram influencer growth tips and all that, you can find me on Instagram. It's IGInfluencer Guide. And one thing that I have really loved is just the chance to work with a lot of people and help them level up with their Instagram. So I offer a free Instagram masterclass that you can sign up for. We'll be linking to that in the notes for the podcast. And basically, that's a free training that I offer where you can learn my strategy for growing on Instagram. And I give you a whole bunch of industry secrets for how to grow your following, how to succeed on Instagram, and how to get brand deals.
Yeah, and I love here, I'm looking at your IG influencer guide, and on the left there's this photo of you in a black actually it might be navy, but a corporate suit. You've got pearls on, a little blue top, black hair, and then to the right there's you with this gorgeous hat, pink. You're in a canoe, you're like this mountaineering place, and all of your photos are absolutely beautiful, and your flat lays and staging. And obviously that's something you teach in your class, isn't it? Like photos or pairing outfits. And is that something you dive into also for them?
In the class that I teach how to edit photos. So once you've taken the photo on your camera, I teach in depth how to edit for Instagram. And I teach how to make really beautiful Instagram stories as well. And I also teach how to create a visually cohesive Instagram feed. What I don't teach is like what your photos should look like or videos, because this is your creative platform and creative way of self-expression. So like, if you want to tint all your photos hot pink and that's your vibe, love it. If you want to only post blue photos, that's your vibe, love it. So what I don't teach is like, this is what your Instagram should look like. But I do teach, this is how to professionally edit your photos in the way that top Instagrammers do. This is how to create cool Instagram stories that are engaging with fun fonts, like how big Instagrammers do. And I teach you how to create a flow and a cohesiveness, but everyone's, it's like, you know, my students, their Instagrams look totally different than mine. And that's awesome. So I don't teach like, this is what it has to look like, but there are, you know, lessons, and I have like there's a 30-minute video on how to pose for photos, because that was something I struggled a lot with, because I wasn't used to having to pose for travel photos. So I have like a whole video on how to look natural in photos, what to do with your hands so you can like present yourself better. Because I had to, honestly, I practice in front of the mirror, and I still do. That's something that very difficult. So I have a whole 30 minutes on that, you know, 45 minutes on how to use like professional editing software. So the visual part is in there, but there's so much more. It's like how to pick the right username and make your profile and bio attract people, how to figure out who you want to attract as your follower, 15 strategies for gaining followers. Like I go very in depth, and then how to get brand deals, how much to charge brands, like all the way through. Like,
amazing.
Yeah.
That is so amazing. I really love that, because I often have a lot of spa owners out there who are now having to transition from being a spa therapist, manager, owner to having to get photos. And one of the things that always comes up with all people is, how do I stand? How do I pose? And I'm going, well, don't ask me. I'm like, I've come from a writing background, like the Carrie Bradshaw of the world, where you sit behind a computer, type your thoughts and feelings. And then, like you said, you've gone now into a visual world. So I can't wait for everyone to click on that link, which I'll leave in the podcast section. Plus, I just can't wait for everyone to connect with you. This has just been so amazing. Thank you so much, Vicki, for sharing all your words of wisdom. I truly hope it inspires one of our listeners out there, or all of our listeners, to believe that you can be an everyday girl working in a job you might not like, but if you have a passion to be creative, or there's something you love, you want to express yourself, or if you've just seen other people that are traveling in the world as a travel influencer and think, man, I'd love to do that. Well, why not? Because
Why not?
now, why not? Because now Vicki's offering her IG. We've got our IG influencer guide, and because you all listened into, you get a free masterclass, totally free. So I'll leave that link. And thank you again, Vicki, for spending so much time sharing your story. So inspirational that you have made this shift of high flying corporate lawyer to fun, happy, healthy travel blogger, now founder, mentoring so many girls and women now to become their own influencer. Truly, truly, truly inspiring. I'm sure your mum must be so happy with seeing you so happy and seeing all of the travel you're doing. Is she just like, wow?
Yeah, and to be honest, the biggest thing has actually been my dad. When I first quit my job, was a bit nervous, and then it's the first time he saw me in person after I quit and was doing this full time. He's like, "You're different now. Like, you're happy, and that's what matters." And so that like really meant so much to me. But yeah, my mom loves it. She's in Arizona with me. We're going on a press trip together. She's coming with me as my +1. So she's now getting the perks of my mom can be a mom influencer with me, and she's now loving it too. But it's been amazing. So thank you so much for having me. It's just been really great to connect and to hear about everything that you're doing for your community and bringing self-care to all of us like me who really need to look after ourselves. It's just such an important mission.
I'm just so grateful because I know so many girls that are part of SPAITGIrl, whether they're running a spa or retreats, yoga studios, whatever. There's people are just trying to even promote a cause, like whether it's raising awareness with an illness. I just feel that regardless of what they're wanting to communicate on Instagram or on social media, that your course can help guide them. And I've got so many people that live in really tiny remote places where you just don't have access to, flying into New York City, catching up with you. I love how it's online. So I feel like someone can be in a town of 300 in the outback of Australia, but still be working on their business brand or the life they want through this power of the internet. It's just such an exciting time. I've got goosebumps. I got goosebumps.
I know.
I've literally got goosebumps because I feel like this is the most exciting time online. And I feel that it opens up so much opportunity. So wherever you live, you might not live in New York City, where Vicki is, but I just hope between Vicki and I, we inspire you today to believe that whatever small town you live in or town or city, you can become the person you want. You can share your own story, passion, and love, and you can receive support, love, and guidance through IGInfluencer Guide and their founder, Vicki. Thank you so much. We'll say goodbye. I loved having you on the show. I can't wait to have you on in perhaps a year's time, and then we can talk about all the amazing stories that come out of you transforming and helping to transform people's lives so they feel happy and healthy from within, like you too.
That sounds perfect. I'll see you in a year.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.